Hey, I'm Doug. Welcome to Backcountry Pilgrim, a channel that is all about camping, hiking, and backpacking. If you're into that stuff, why don't you hit the subscribe button? Today I want to look at the pluses and minuses of BEAR bags versus BEAR canisters. Now that we've talked about BEAR bags, I want to talk about some of the negatives associated with using them to protect your food from bears and bears from your food. What we need to realize is that we are not simply protecting our food. We are actually protecting the bears. Human food, or the products of human hygiene and even medicine, smell incredibly good to wild animals that are used to grubbing around for berries in the forest. If a bear actually gets a chance to ingest some human food, they are not going to want to go back to the standard bear food that they can find lying around in the dirt. And bears are very smart. If they realize that coming to this particular location often will feed them the better food, they're going to come back and they're going to become aggressive. Now, what aggressive often means is simply that the bears aren't going to be natively afraid of going into human-occupied territory anymore. That doesn't mean they're going to attack. In fact, in Northern America, bear attacks are extremely rare, and they almost never have anything to do with attaining food. What a bear will do, though, is tear apart your ice chest, tear apart your campground, and even tear apart your car. And unfortunately, when bears start to get to that level where they are no longer afraid of being around people anymore, they are often put down. A fed bear is a dead bear. So obviously, we don't want to be doing that. We don't want to be going out into the bear's territory and then doing something that threatens their lives. So, hanging one's food and other yummy smelling supplies up in the air where the bear can't reach it is standard practice in many backcountry places, for many backpacking communities. It's kind of the tried and true method. I went over that in another video. Right now, what I want to talk about are some of the downfalls to the bear bag hang. First of all, despite how easy I made it look, hanging a bear bag is often quite difficult. It's one thing to just walk around until you find that perfect branch, and maybe you get lucky and you get that rock bag or that stick over the branch on the first try, but that is actually fairly rare. And then trying to find somewhere to tie the rope off, or doing the PCT hang, or, if you're in real trouble, doing the double branch hang over the center method. All of these things are just a pain to do. And if you've done this more than once in your life, you probably know the pain of getting done with your hang, turning around and realizing that you need something from that bag. Or think about it in the morning. When you wake up and you're still in your sleeping bag or quilt, and you just want to roll over and get some coffee started, where's your coffee? Yeah, it's outside, a couple 100 feet from camp, hanging up in a tree somewhere. That is the last thing you want to deal with. Further, you can't always find a place to hang a bag. What if you have hiked above the tree line? No trees. If you're much below the tree line, it might be a very brush-filled area. It might just be too difficult to push through. Or the trees themselves might be really bushy and there's just no good place for that rock sack or that stick to be thrown. And if the trees don't have long enough branches, the bag is going to be too close to the trunk. There may not be a good place to tie the rope to once you get the bag over the branch. It's just fraught with the possibility of failure. In many areas, bears have figured out how to defeat many of the common bear hang methods. Further, unless you've got some kind of bag that is also rodent-proof, mice, squirrels, and other little creatures can climb your line, climb down your line, and spend the night trying to get into your food bag as well. The famous thru hiker and backcountry guide Andrew Skirka doesn't even include hanging bear bags in his backcountry courses. He has basically written off the method completely. Now, one possible solution to many of those problems is to go with an actual bear-proof bag, like an Ursack. However, many national parks, especially here in California, do not recognize those as sufficient protection for bears, and if you are caught with one of those, you are going to be in trouble. So, although the classic bear hang is kind of this iconic move in backpacking, many people today have moved away from it, many parks don't even allow it, and many backpackers simply don't like it. Enter the BEAR canister. A BEAR canister is a really tough barrel that has bear-proof locking mechanisms that keep out bears, keep out rodents, often keep out humans unless you're pretty good at opening them, and keeping your food, toiletries, hygiene items, and whatever else smells like it might be yummy to a bear in one of these is a much more surefire method of keeping your food safe from the bears and the bears safe from your food. Another great thing about a bear canister is that once it's full and you've locked it up, you can just walk out of camp, stick it under a rock, and basically leave it alone. Worst case scenario, if a bear does get it, they're probably going to bat it around for a little while, realize they can't get into it, and walk away. It's going to be safe unless it rolls down a hill, down a valley, and you can never find it, which is why you need to make sure you can see your bear can. And it is a lot easier to deal with because you're not trying to find some perfect tree with a perfect branch and make sure you have all of the things you need to get a bag hung up there. That also alleviates the problem of needing something from your bear cache after you have already put it away. It's a lot easier to just walk out into the woods, open up the can, and get what you need than to disassemble your entire bear bag hang and then put it all back up again when you've got the item that you need. Other benefits include keeping out rodents, keeping your food safe from rain and snow, and they can even be used as furniture. This makes a great camp seat if you don't have anything better. Yet another reason why bear canisters are often better than a bear bag hang is that in many places you have to have one. Parts of the AT, parts of the CDT, and huge sections of the PCT all require that you carry a sufficiently sized bear canister in order to pass through the area. And not only long trails, but many national parks are now requiring that if you're going to spend the night in the backcountry, you have to have a bear canister, and they will not allow an sack or a food bag hang in its place. Now obviously the problem with a bear canister is that it is bulky and it is heavy. This here is the Bear Boxer. It is a very small canister coming in at only 4.5 liters. This is good for like a long weekend and probably no more. But even this weighs 25 ounces. Now that's considerably less than a bear can in the 30s or 40s of ounces, which many of them are. But this is also very small in comparison to the typical bear canister, which is going to at least double this size and lets you go out for closer to a week before you have to resupply. Another thing you got to keep in mind with size is that you aren't just putting your food in here. Yes, you've got to keep your food, but you've also got to keep all of your drink powders, your trash, your hygiene items, lip balm, toothpaste, deodorant, if you wear deodorant on the trail, lotion, wet wipes, sanitizer, anything with a humanly produced smell or food is going to have to go in this thing at night, and so that's why many of these are so much larger than my little example here. I also wanted something that fit Yosemite and other California National Park regulations, and believe it or not all bear canisters are allowed by all parks. So you need to be very careful about getting one that is certified by the right certification and is the right size, etc., for where you are trying to go. Now down in the video's description, I'll put some of the details on these different bear canisters. You'll want to do the research yourself, of course. I would recommend that if at all possible, you actually get your hands on the bear canisters that you are considering. Try to actually load them up with the kinds of food that you think you want in there. Practice taking the lid on and off. Consider what it would be like if you were not comfortable or if you were wearing gloves or it was snowing. If you can, bring in your backpack to see how the canister fits. But again, I would recommend that you start by looking in your area where you think you're going to be backpacking and find out what kinds of canisters they allow, because otherwise you're just kind of wasting your time doing research on canisters that may not be allowed anyway. One final tip on carrying bear canisters. There are a couple different methods. As you can imagine, because of the size of some of these things, putting them inside the pack might take up nearly all the room you have. So because of that, some backpackers like to put the bear can on top of their pack, and many backpacks now even come with special top straps designed to hold a bear canister in. However, that is not always the most secure way to carry the bear canister, and if you consider what could happen if you lose it, that could be a really bad thing. Also, the weight distribution isn't very good if you've got your heaviest items way up on top of your pack right behind your head. So there's the dilemma. Do you have an awkwardly placed precarious BEAR canister on the outside of your pack, or do you put it inside your pack and run out of room? So there are a couple things to consider. Number one, if you know that you're going to be doing some big hikes and you're going to need a big canister so that you don't have to resupply constantly, you're going to want a bigger backpack that will hold the canister that you're getting. In the description below, I'll put a link to a website that has done some analysis on that. All right, I hope this video has helped you. If it has, would you mind giving it a like? And if you haven't subscribed to Backcountry Pilgrim, I would love to have you do that. Make sure that you also click that bell when you subscribe, or else you won't know when new videos come out. Until next time, I'm Doug. Thank you for watching. Take it easy.